हरि ओम। वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शांति शांति शांति। Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste friends. Team Param Vedanta welcomes you all to session 3 for the study of important mantras from various Upanishads. Today, we are going to study selected mantras from Mundakopanishad. Dr. Kiran, Dr. Anupama, Dr. Divakar, and Dr. Dimapa Hegde sir himself will help us to understand those selected mantras. Dr. Hegde sir will give us the deeper thoughts in these mantras. Now, I request Dr. Hegde sir to give us the introduction to the day's session. Over to you, sir.
Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. As just introduced, before we start our next Upanishad, which is the Mandukya Upanishad, which along with the Karikas is going to take us several months, we propose to revise the important mantras from the Upanishad studied earlier. And today we are looking at the important mantras from the Mundakopanishad. The Mundakopanishad is from the Atharva Veda. The word Munda means head. In this Veda, Atharva Veda, there is a certain vrata called Shiro Vrata, where the student is supposed to carry fire on the head, signifying a certain commitment for Brahma Vidya. And for these two reasons, the Upanishad is named as Mundakopanishad. It has 65 mantras divided into 3 chapters, and each chapter has 2 sections. We just heard the Shanti Pata chanted by Sri Venkatesh Prasad. This is a very important Shanti Pata. In fact, all Upanishadic Shanti Patas should be our daily prayer because of the importance of the Shanti Pata in itself. We have started this work now to revise the important Upanishadic mantras. Now, this will take a certain period of time. For this 1 hour, may there be no obstacles. In any prayer, it is not to avoid, however, during this period of time, when I am committed to my study, let there be no obstacles. That is why this prayer is chanted both by the student and for the teacher, so that there are no obstacles, so that we will be able to put in our efforts, at the same time be able to access the grace of the Lord. It is a prayer for the fitness of our limbs, and each of our parts of the body are governed by certain devatas. So we address to all those devatas to ensure that I can see properly, I can speak, I can hear, all my limbs are strong, and however much we have time to live. We are in this prayer, we are not asking for a long life, but we are asking for this. As long as I live, can I be independent? Can I have all these faculties? And let me use these faculties to be able to attain all the goals that a human being, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and the Parama Purushartha, Moksha. There is Shanti always 3 times, Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik. The Mundakopanishad is a teaching tradition, and the opening verse is very beautiful. Om Brahma Devanam Pratama Sambhabhuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gupta. That means the Upanishad that we are studying, these words have come to us from the Lord, from Brahmaji himself. And from him on, he has transmitted this wisdom to his son. And from his son, a certain sampradaya, a certain tradition from Guru to Shishya has come down. That is why Asmad Acharya Pariyantam, up to my Guru. And I have got this from my Guru. And therefore, whatever I have received is extremely sacred, extremely valuable. The Upanishad begins with a very brilliant question, which will be explained by Dr. Kiran. And every Upanishad is based on the fundamental question. And in answer to this question, the teacher here, Angiras, classifies all wisdom into two. One is called Paravidya and the other is called Aparavidya. Paravidya is the knowledge that is worth knowing. Elsewhere it is called Neyam or Vigneyam. That is something worth knowing. And Aparavidya is all the knowledge which supports us to get this knowledge. In this Upanishad also the importance of approaching a guru, because what we have to learn, in answer to that first question, what is that we are supposed to know? We are supposed to discover that one, that essence, that impermanent thing, and that which is the truth, and that which is there should be there in me also. And where to find it? Yetad yo veda nihitam guhaya. You need to discover it within yourself. So avidya grantim vikirati hisomya. It will be explained. Vikirati. It will, all our ignorance is going to be destroyed. This Upanishad has got a variety of examples. We have the spider example. Yata urnanapi, just like the spider example. Yata prithvi aushadaya. From the earth, how the plants emerge. How foolish it is to expect that from a broken boat that we can cross the ocean of samsara by our efforts alone, by karma alone. This example is going to be explained today about the sparks and the bonfire, about the 5 agnis. Now, what happens once a person, before a person is reborn, how the person goes through the various 5 agnis. Every Upanishad talks about Omkara. And we have the Omkara in the form of a bow and arrow example in this Upanishad. The spokes and the hub of a chariot is compared to the heart and all the blood vessels. Another important example, which will be explained today. Where to discover the real self. Na tatra suryo bhati comes in many Upanishads. It comes in this Upanishad also. And finally, the famous example of the 2 birds and the Satyameva Jayati. The opening mantra, the question, the most important question, for which the whole Upanishad is an answer, will be explained by Dr. Kiran. Dr. Kiran, please.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om, Gurubhyo Namah. We have Pasika. Friends, come and see the world of Upanishad. We have started with Mundakopanishad, which is considered a classic among the Upanishads because it starts in a systematic way. It introduces the importance of the teaching, the lineage in which it comes. It introduces the student, the teacher, and the introduction and summary, and the great question itself. These Upanishads are most enchanting and mysterious, and it is the highest in spiritual quest. Nobody has any need to cross beyond this Upanishads. Nobody has felt beyond Upanishad, I should know something, because this is where everything ends. And as Osho has termed, never before and never after has the human consciousness has achieved such an Himalayan heights. So let us start this Upanishad. Before going to the question, let us learn a little bit about knowledge. When we want to know about knowledge or anything, three things are always involved. One is pramata, the knower, then the tools, that is what I use and to know, and then prameyam, that is the thing to be known. And of all the things, the most important is pratyaksha pramana, that is, it is directly from the sensor. And importance of this is, I'll explain. Like if I want to see colors, like I want to see this pen, the shape, the color, I have to use only the vision. Ears can't say which shape I have, and I can't claim, oh, ear is useless because I am not able to see the color. No. If I want to see the color, I have to use the eyes. If I want to use ears to listen anything, I have to use ears. Similarly, if I want to know the self, that is me, the real, the pramanam here is the Upanishad. That is, it is the sixth pramanam. Here, even though we are using Shabda Pramana, remember always here Upanishad itself is described as pramana or the tool. And that is why the Shabda Pramana, even though we listen to it, the mind and intellect is very important because he should grasp this Pramanam or tool without any what you call distortion. That is why this is very important. That is why it is also known as Swatantra Pramana. And the others are Mimamsa, etc. are extracting the message. And Vedas or Upanishad is Apaurushaya. That means it is not of human origin. It is supposed to be a divine origin, or when the nature, everything is created, this has come along with it. And this is the means of ultimate goal or ultimate happiness, that is Atato Brahmadiyas. Next slide, please. Now, the question, Shaunako hi Mahashala Angirasam Vivivad Upasana Prapache Kasminnu Bhagavo Vignate Sarvamidam Vignatam Bhavati Iti. O Lord, what is that absolute truth, knowing which everything becomes known? This is very, very important. He is not asking, I want to know the truth of something. I want to know how this machine is made. I want to know how life is. Nothing. I want to know everything. That means I want to know that thing from which everything, I want to know that tool from which everything is revealed. That is what he is asking. This is a mind-boggling question. And why he wants to know that? Next we'll study. Next slide, please. Shaunaka is a student. What kind of student? He is not some, brahmachari or sannyasa or somebody. He is a mahashala. That means he is a grihastha who has big kitchen. Why you need a big kitchen? Now we have, all with this attached kitchen and things like that. No, he has a big kitchen. Why he has? That implies that he cooks to many, not even his family, workers, guests, and even students, sannyasis, everything who come and pass, because before there was no hotel, etc. And anybody who comes to the village, they will ask, who is a good grahastha? We want to stay there and we want to eat. So always this kitchen fire was always there. And he has done enough dana. And next, he is as a yagashala, mahayagashala. That means he has a big worshipping room, or he has performed many rituals. That means he has performed both dana, that is dharma, artha, kama of the purusharthas, that is prayers, and he has gone beyond. He has realized, even though that has got utility, that is not enough. So as he says in Socrates, he has examined life as it were, and he has come to a conclusion there is something beyond this. And the teacher here is Angirasa and Vividha Upasana Prapancha. That means he approaches, the Shishya approaches the Guru formally. He does not so casually or say he sends some vehicle because he is already rich, nothing like that. He approaches Shishyastehi Prapannapai. Like just like how Arjuna approaches, he approaches with all his humility, Shraddha and Bhakti, and he does this. Next slide, please. He says that, teach me that from which everything is known. Next slide. Yeah. So here he says Bhagavo. That means here Guru is Bhagavan. There is no other things. Like there is some not like that Guru. In fact, even in Gita, the teaching verse starts with Sri Bhagavan Vacha. So the Guru is nothing but teacher, and his words are directly from the teacher, Sadashiva Samani. Kasminnu Vignate. What is that absolute truth? He is not asking immediate first edition, second edition. He is asking absolute truth, the knowledge of the knowledge, the light of the light, knowing which everything becomes. Sarvam idam vignata bhavati. Knowing that, that means he knows in creation, that means not just externally, himself, both are related and it is perhaps essentially same. That means sarvam idam, everything from me, this small me, to the entire galaxy is one and only one. That is what he already has some incline towards it, and he wants the clarity on that. And once he knows that there is something between me and he, everything is a common thread, then there's no difference. Just like how if you know gold and its bangle, you know all the things, or you don't have to know individual ornaments. If you know gold, that is enough. That is what he implies. So if you know the cause and you know it, then you know all the effects of it. Next slide, please. Here, Swamiji explains that what is the difference between Karanam and Karyam. Karanam is ekam, that is cause is one, gold is one, ornaments are many. Karanam is Sara, it is the whole substantial. In ornament, if you take out the gold, there is nothing else. So, in the world or in me, if I remove the Brahman, there is nothing else. Brahman only is there because it can't be removed. Karanam is Nityam, that is same. It cannot be different. Gold cannot be one gold and there is something other gold. No, it is not like that. And Karanam is Satyam, that is, it is same in all periods of time and place. This is what he wants to know. What is that? In short, he says, Ekam Sarvam. That is, whatever is there, that is Sarvam, is only one. And perhaps that is me. And I want to know what is this real me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kiran, for a nice explanation of this key mantra. Shaunaka, the very accomplished householder, approaches the teacher of the Atharva Veda. And so many of the Atharva Veda mantras come from Angira. Vividat Upasanna Prapacha. He approaches in the traditionally prescribed manner and he asks this question. And this is that one question which we have to remember throughout the Upanishad, in fact, throughout all Brahma Vidya. What is that knowing which everything worth knowing is known? And the answer comes from, what is that Ekasara Nitya Satya? And let us hope in our revision class, we will be able to answer that question. What is that Eka, that one? Sara, the essence, Nitya, which is there all the time, Satya, and that is the truth. The next important mantra, which seems to answer what is that, will be answered by Dr. Anupama. Dr. Anupama, please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mantra 116. Here, a few words are used to describe this Brahman. Yat tad adreshyam, agrahyam, agotram, avarnam, achakshushrodram, tad apanipadam, nityam, vibhum, sarvagatam, susukshmam, tad avyayam, yad bhutayonim, paripashyanti dhiraha. An important mantra analyzed in the Brahma Sutra. The essence is definition of Brahman as beyond subject-object duality and as the cause of the world. Here, Aksharam Brahman is defined through its unique 12 features or Brahma Lakshanani. Note, these are not attributes because Brahman is Nirguna. Dhiraha tat Aksharam paripashyanti. The competent students know that Tat Aksharam Brahman as Adreshyam, meaning Adarshyam, cannot be perceived, not available to the mind and sense organs, Jnanendriya and Karmendriya agochara, and as we have understood in Tripti, Phala Vyapti, reason Prakash. Next, Agotram Anvayaha. Brahman has no cause, no lineage, no birth, because Brahman is Nityam. Next, Avarnam. This word has three meanings. It could mean Brahman has no color or no attributes or does not belong to any Varna ashrama, namely the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. Achakshu Shrotram. Brahman has no sense organs or jnanendriyas. If so, how can we call Brahman Sarvajna? Being of the nature of pure consciousness, Brahman illumines everything without requiring the mind, jnanendriyas, or karmendriyas, as we have seen in the mantra, na thatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyito bhanti, kuto ayam agnihi. But tam eva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Next, agrahyam. Brahman does not grasp because it does not have organs of action to grasp, nor can it be grasped, agrahakam, because it's not an object. So to conclude, it's neither a subject or object. It transcends duality, it transcends time and space, and it is eternal. Next, vibhum. It appears as manifold or vividham in different forms, as we have seen in Manisha Panchakam, Ya Brahmadi Pipilikanta Tanushu Rota Jagat Sakshini. Brahman is Sarvagatam Susukshmam. It is all-pervading like space. Vyapakam Akashatvata. It is extremely subtle, being devoid of attributes. Next, Apanipadam Avyayam. It has no limbs or resources. It's never weakened or disintegrated. No weakening by loss of limbs, no weakening caused by loss of resources or kosha. Being nirguna, it has nothing to lose. Being sarvagata, it cannot be separated from anything. So, whatever exists, exists in association with avyayam Brahman, which cannot be weakened by any loss. And finally, Bhuta Yonim means Bhutanam Karanam, the material cause of the entire creation. Therefore, Brahman is the essence of everything, just as gold is the essence of all ornaments. And by knowing this Brahman, everything is known. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anupama, for a very nice explanation of a often quoted mantra. Yat tad adreshyam, that which cannot be seen. Agrahyam, cannot be grasped, which has no birth, which has no attributes. Now, you have to begin by giving Brahman as that which is neti neti. Achakshu shodram, no eyes, no ears, no hands, no legs. And then we have to give some certain positive, that which is always there, nityam, which is all pervading, vibhum, sarvagatam, extremely subtle, susukshmam, that which never undergoes any modification, and that which is the source of all, and those who are paripashyanti, that means those who are dhiraha, the wise people, that means through the Guru and Shastras, you will be able to discover that which is Ekasara, Nitya, and Satya. We come to another very important verse, which I will explain. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmano nirvedya maya nasti akrita kritena tat vignartam sa gurumeva abhigachet samitpani shotriya brahmanishta. Brahmana means a spiritually evolved person. Karmachitan lokan, in this world where we work. Pariksha, if you examine this work where we do our day-to-day living, and if you have examined your life, nirvedyam, you attain to a kind of a distaste to the world, which is also called vairagya. Why? You discover na kritena, that means through my action alone, na kritena, akrita na asti, that means the uncreated. What is uncreated? Moksha or Paramapurushartha is uncreated. That means through any amount of my efforts, moksha cannot be attained. This is a great wisdom. Then this understanding dawns, tat vignartam. Then what do we do? Sa gurum eva abhigachet. Go to a guru. But the tradition says we do not go to a guru empty-handed. You carry a twig with you. The twig is called Samitpani, very symbolic. Samitpani is dropped into the oven to be ignited. But Samitpani also indicates my ego and my past. And what kind of a guru? Shrotriya Brahmanishta. One who is established in the Vedas, a Brahmanishta, and one who has the ability to communicate this truth to others. Now, Swamiji explains this mantra in a very beautiful manner. Pariksha Lokan. Have we learned from our experiences? Our experiences can be classified into two. It can be pleasant experiences or unpleasant experiences. In pleasant experiences, we don't learn anything at all. That is why somebody very nicely has said, nothing fails like success. When you are riding on the boom of success, we really don't learn anything. We enjoy and experience that state. But when we have problems in life, our life becomes very disturbed. And because we are disturbed by these problems, we are not able to learn, and we suffer a lot. But if you have the technique to keep our mind calm, in and through our suffering, we experience a certain depth of understanding. And in this depth of understanding through our own suffering, Pariksha Lokan, new dimensions are opened up. Now, Upasana. Those who are able to do certain forms of Upasana have the ability to control your mind and be able to learn from unpleasant experiences. That is why it is said how you can learn from every experience. When you win, you win. When you lose, you learn. What do we learn? All the fruits of our actions are mixed with sorrows. We know this, I'm not going to explain. Is dukkha mishra, is atriptikaratvam, not absolutely fulfilling, and bandhakatvam, that means they create a certain bondage for us. Then the student says, now I want something more permanent. This world is not going to give me permanent. Nitya anitya vastu viveka. What I want is something nitya. And therefore, when this world cannot provide it, then I develop a nirvedyam ayat, which is also called vairagya. And there is another deeper understanding, krite akrita nasti. That means from all my actions, moksha is not possible. However, I keep on doing the same thing and I'm not able to go to the next dimension altogether. What is this moksha? Moksha is not something that can be accomplished through effort. It is not something that happens it is not a sadhyam or a goal to be attained. It is a siddha vastu. It is something always there. Now, this is the problem. If this goal that I am looking for is already there in me, which means I am already infinite according to the Guru and the Shastras. But what is my experience? My experience is full of limitations. I experience limitations in time, limitations in space, limitations in my requirements. So I do not know, is my opinion about myself is correct, or the Upanishadic or the Guru's opinion about myself? That is when I approach a guru. Sa guru eva abhigachit. In a traditional, in a proper manner, approach a guru. And what kind of a guru? A guru who is anchored in the truth and who also has the ability to communicate the truth. Now, this is where the student takes a complete U-turn, and this is the critical point of the Upanishad where all of us have come to. The next important mantra will be explained by Dr. Devakar. Dr. Devakar, please.
Thank you, sir. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Before going to this important mantra of 2.1.1, just a bit of reiteration of the background, which has already been explained by sir and the other speaker. The first mundaka, the first section, the first chapter, The general outline of the two fields of the knowledge is given. The lower Aparavidya covering Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, and the higher Paravidya dealing with the Gnana Yoga. In the second section of the first Mundaka, Aparavidya was elaborated. In fact, that we did not go through in detail. A lot of ritualistic portions are told in that particular Mundaka. The main teaching of the Upanishad starts from the second Mundaka. As the question that was explained beautifully by Dr. Kiran, it's something that we need to remember at all times. Kasminu bhagavo vignate sarvamidam vignatam bhavati iti. What is that? By knowing which all other things become known to me. The elaborate and detailed answer to this question is covered in the second and the third Mundaka, which is called as Paravidya. There can be an answer to this question of Shaunaka only if everything in the creation has one common ingredient. Upanishad categorically says, of course, there is a common ingredient, which is not only having its own independent existence, but also enlivens every living being in the creation, starting from the microorganism to the evolved human beings like us. This common sentient ingredient is the consciousness principle, or Satchidananda Brahma, Brahman, in other words. Analysis, study, and understanding of, and then identifying with this Brahman over a period of time under a competent guru is called as Gnana Yoga. In our lives, only this is worth knowing, and rest of the life is just incidental. Main teaching of this Mundaka is given in the three profound messages that we will see in the next slide. The first one is the Brahma Satyam. Consciousness principle alone is the real existent principle. That alone is really existent. The second one is Jagat Mithya. World is seemingly existent, meaning it has only a lower order of reality, just like that of a dream. It's a mind-boggling thing. That's what Vedanta says. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. I, the experiencer, Jiva, is none other than the Brahman, the consciousness. The next slide we see, to convey this profound message of Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Upanishad adopts a method of analysis of creation of the universe, the Srishti Prakriya, in this first mantra of the second Mundaka. Description of Brahman in relation to the world, which is called as Tatastha Lakshanam, or relational definition of Brahman, is given. This is already explained in the Mundakopanishad earlier using this spider example. Let's look at the relationship between the cause, the Karana, and the effect, the Karyam, using the Srishti Prakriya. We have learned that the God is the Karanam, for which the world is the Karyam, the universe that we experience is the Karyam. This is because God is both. God here is, of course, Brahman, with both higher and the lower manifestations. God is both the creator, creator who is the intelligent cause, as well as the raw material for this cause of the universe. Technically, this term is called as Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam, both the intelligent as well as the material cause. Just like how a spider, who is the designer as well as the source for the web. So from one Brahman, many diverse creatures in the world is created. So Brahman is Ekaha, the world is Anekam. So sir has already mentioned this, Ekasara Nitya Satya. Brahman is the content of the universe, which is called as Saraha. Brahman was there before, during, and will be there after the pralayam of the world. Therefore, Brahman is Nityaha. Brahman has independent existence, which is called as Satyaha, Satyam. So Brahman is Eka, Sara, Nitya, Satya, ESNS. Swami Paramarthananda says that is the essence. Brahman is the essence. And the universe on the other hand is Aneka, Asara, Anitya, and Mithya, which is the opposite. Just like how one lump of gold is used to make several ornaments, and in fact there is no existence for the ornaments without the gold, as the gold with different names and forms itself is the ornament. So Brahman is the name. So the universe is nothing but the Brahman with different names and forms. So the names and form is just the mithya, but the real substance in it is the satyam. So with this background, let's look at the mantra in the next slide. Tadetad sadhyam यथा सुदीप्तात् पावकाद् विस्फुलिङ्गाः सहस्रशः प्रभवन्ते स्वरूपाः तदाक्षराद् विविधाः सौम्यभावाः प्रजायन्ते तत्र चैवापि यन्ति तदेतत् satyam. Know that to be the truth. Here, tad etat is Brahman, which is going to be talked about as it is the central theme of this section. So Brahman is satyam. Brahman alone is really existent. Aksharad vividaha bhavaha prajayante aksharaha. From this imperishable Brahman, aksharaha, here is Brahman. Vividaha bhavaha, all the living beings, including the inert matter, prajayante, are born. So all living and non-living things, including the time and space, so which are present in the unmanifested potential form of Brahman, which is called as Maya, is all come from Brahman alone. So Brahman and Maya has no beginning. They are anadi. At the time of creation, out of Brahman and Maya, Chetana Jiva, the sentient beings, and Achetana Prapancha, insentient matter, is created. Anything which is born has to die. So vividaha bhavaha, which are prajayante, born out of this origin, has to return back to the origin, which is called as apiyante, which is used in this mantra. So at Shrishti, universe manifests from unmanifested seed form, and at the pralayam returns back to the unmanifested form. Just like how the seed to the plant, and then to tree, and then back to the seed form cycle that we have seen earlier. A beautiful example is taken to explain this further. Yatha sudiptat pavakad. From the huge bonfire, vispulingaha sahasrashaha. Thousands of sparks emerge. Innumerable sparks are compared to jivas, and they are all emerging from Paramatma, which is compared to the bonfire. Jivatmas are many, tiny, and insignificant compared to Paramatma bonfire, and Jivatma has no independent existence. So if one compares only the names and forms, Jivatma will remain in a Dvaita with all the inferior attributes. But the points to oneness of the bonfire and the spark, Prabhavante Sarupaha, very nature of the spark is heat and the light, which is same as that of this fire. So all Jivatmas too has the same nature of Satchidananda Swarupa of Paramatma. So this statement also reveals Jivatma Paramatma Aikya Mahavakya Vichara. So this mantra is a Mahavakya mantra. Guru calls Shishya here as Saumya. Saumya means a pleasant one. This is to appreciate and encourage the student to pursue this Atma Gnanam further. So we have seen this Tatastha Lakshanam, or the relationship definition of Brahman through this. Hari Om. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vivakar. An excellent explanation, not only of this mantra, but you have given us an entire overview of the whole Upanishad, and especially emphasizing what is this Eka Sara Nitya Satya that we have to discover. And this perhaps is answered in this mantra, the famous 10th mantra. Swamiji has given such an elaborate explanation for this mantra, and let us try to understand this mantra from the second mundaka, second kanda, mantra number 10. Purusha eva idam vishwam karma tapa brahma paramritam etad yo veda nihitam guhayam so avidya grantin vikariti visaumya. Purusha eva. Now, what is that Ekasara Nitya Satya? That is Brahman. So Purusha, Brahman alone, has become this whole universe. I am able to see this whole universe, including my body and my mind. My body, my mind, and this whole universe becomes something of my experience. Purusha eva idam vishwa. That means Brahman alone has become the world, just like the dreamer creates the dream world. Of course, it means Brahman alone has become this dream world. It also means it is of a lower order of reality. Now, I have my world, you have your world. Although we live in the same world, there is a difference between my world and your world, because my world is a product of my karma and my past upasana. So depending upon our past karmas and our past upasanas, we have a certain differential in the experience of this. Purusha eva idam vishwam karma tapaha Brahma paramritam. This is the same thing which is parama and which is eternal. Remember again, these are descriptions of Brahman, not so much of the description of the world, just like the dreamer and the dream world. O Saumya, this is the teacher very lovingly teaching all of us. Yetad, you have to discover this Ekasara Nitya Satya Brahman. Where? Guhayam. In the cave of your heart, which is hidden, Nihitam. Ya Veda, the one who knows this, Avidya Granthim. What is Avidya Granthim? Maybe in the next class we will touch upon another beautiful mantra. What is this Hridaya Granthi? Avidya Kama Karma. Avidya, I do not know my true nature. Because I do not know my true nature, a desire comes into my mind that if I accomplish this, then I will be happy. Avidya. And because a desire comes, I'm forced to do this. This vicious cycle is Avidya Granthim Vikirati, gets destroyed right here. So this is a beautiful mantra which tells us how Brahman alone appears as this world. So whatever I experience is none other than Brahman. The Chandogya Upanishad says, Sarvam Kaluvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman itself. Purushaha means Puruyate iti sarvam, that which pervades. The word Vishnu means that which is all pervasive. That infinite Brahman is what I experience. And this is a part of my past karma and my upasana. Now, therefore, now this world is not so permanent, but can I move from this impermanent to the permanent? In this world itself, in this world, in this whole field of experience, what is Ekasara Nitya Satya? I see the world is Jagat, that is constantly changing. So anything that is constantly changing cannot be that permanent entity. So what is that? I always use this example of looking at your own photograph. When you see your own photograph as a small child and now, you will see my body has changed, my mind has changed, my thoughts has changed, but I have not changed. What is that non-changing I? Discover that non-changing I. Where do we discover it? That non-changing, that which is indwelling in the multiple, that is Nitya, that is Satya. And we have to discover it in the cave of your heart. So once you discover yourself, you discover something of the eternal. And if you have discovered something of the eternal within you, you will see there are two aspects of you. A body-mind that is constantly changing, and there is something in all of us that never changes. And moksha is a discovery of that non-changing eternal nature which is inherent in all of us. This is what we say is Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. And this wisdom is possible because of acharyas like Swami Paramarthananda. So in conclusion, let us look at this mantra once again. This mantra should be our daily mantra. When we wake up and we open our eyes, what do we say? Purusha eva idam vishwam. The whole world that I experience, including my body and mind, is a product of my past karma and my past tapaha, which is part of my prarabdha karma, which is Brahman alone as an experienced entity, as a lower entity. But Brahman is what? It is Paraha and Amritam. It is immortal and it is the highest. This can also be seen as the Ekasara Nitya Satya. Yetad yo Veda Nihitam Guhaya. Discover this entity in yourself as that conscious principle, which is the indweller of all experiences. And once you have got it, what happens? Avidya Granthim. The Hridaya Granthim is broken here and now. Vikirati Iha, right away. Oh dear one. Dr. Anupama will explain the next mantra. Dr. Anupama, please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mundaka 221. Avihi sannihitam guhacharam nama mahatpadam atra etat samarpitam ejat pranat nimishat cha yat etad janata sadasat varenyam param vijanat varishtam prajanam. This is a Mahavakya mantra. As we have just heard, Shaunaka had asked his Guru Angiras, what is that by knowing which everything is known? And the answer was, by knowing Sat Brahman, by knowing the Karanam Brahma, inherent in everything as pure existence, everything is known. How can we know this pure existence? The answer is given here. Recognize it as I, the subject. This is the essence of this mantra. The pure existence, Paramatma, is everywhere and available in every individual in the Hridayam as the very Chaitanyam, the consciousness, in the form of Jivatma. Brahman, we know, is famously described as Guhayam Charati in the scriptures. Consciousness in the form of Jivatma is recognizable in the medium of the mind and reflected in the moving thoughts of the mind. And this mind, we know, is located in the heart. But the fact is, I, the consciousness, being the Adhishtanam and Sarvagatam, neither move nor remain located. On the contrary, everything is located in me, the Atma. We now have to turn our attention to this self-evident awareness Brahman as I. And the method of this recognition of this Arupam Aksharam Brahman is described in this mantra. Avihi means prakasham or self-effulgent, and sannihitam means evidently present or closely associated. Nama means well known as, and Guhacharam is indweller of the heart. This Jivatma Chaitanyam alone is the infinite existence principle, the Avihi, not limited by the boundaries of the body, and I am this consciousness, Sakshi Chaitanyam. Every sensory experience, Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha, reveals the presence of Brahma Chaitanyam in that respective organ because by its mere presence, the Brahma Chaitanyam makes it sentient, Prati Bodha Viditam Matam. Therefore, this Brahma Chaitanyam is Sannihitam or Samyak Sthitam. This is how consciousness is recognizable. Notice, from Jivatma, the Upanishad is slowly shifting to Paramatma Aikyam by saying this Chaitanyam is the infinite Brahman described here as Mahatpadam. Mahat meaning Sarva Mahatvat or Anantam, and Padam is Sarva Padartha Aspadatvat. The Upanishad says you are not located on anything. Reality being everything is located in you. I am Sarva Padartha Aspadam or Vishwa Adharam. The example being Ratha Nabho Iva Araha. Everything in creation comes out of Brahman and during Pralayam resolves back into it. As in a wheel, or maybe of a chariot, the spokes which are supported by the hub appear to appear from and re-enter the hub. As Brahman, I support the whole creation. This includes the moving ones, Ejata or Chalata, the breathing ones, Pranata or Praniti iti, and the ones which close and open the eyelids, Nimishata. Mishati means to wink, and Shankaracharya has added on a Nimishata, meaning the non-winking ones. It is believed that the Devas do not wink. This means the rest of creation. And all of these traced back, Samarpitam to Brahman. And where is this Brahman? Avihi Sannihitam Guhacharam Mahatpadam. So we should not just know that Etad Brahman as Aspadam of everything, but understand it as the Atma in all of us, appearing in the form of both Sat, the pure existence consciousness, and Asat, the Jagat, the Panchabhutas. With and without form, Murta and Amurta, meaning tangible and intangible, both subtle and gross, Sthula, Sukshma Yoho. Finally, we should know that apart from that, Tad Vyatiriktena, nothing else exists in this creation. This Brahman is the most sought after, Varanium, or at least it ought to be Varaniyam. Why? Nityavata, being the only stable thing in life. And this Jnanam is Param, meaning it is Apaurushaya, it is Paravidya. Prajananam Vijnanat Param. Brahman is beyond the knowledge of lay people, inaccessible to material sciences. Yat Laukika Vijnana Agocharam. That Advaitam Brahman is the most exalted. Varishtam means Varattamam, the greatest. Why? Because it is Sarva Dosha Rahitavat. The teacher now beseeches the students. Janata, he says, O disciple, may you recognize this Brahman, that Tat Pada Lakshyartha in the form of Tvam Pada Lakshyartha as Aham Brahma Asmi, and become free from this Jiva Jagat Prarabdha triangular format. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anupama. And this is the last mantra for today, to be able to recognize that one in the many. That one, when we see the world around, we see so much of variety. But when you have the ability to see that one in the multiple, and that is how Mundakopanishad helps us to discover the one in the play of the many. Shri Venkatesh Prasad, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Hector, sir, and all speakers of the day for an excellent session. Thank you, friends, for your active participation in the study of Upanishads. We'll be concluding study of selected Upanishad mantras next week and take up Mandukya Upanishad later. Before that, on coming Monday, 13th May, let us tune in for session 26 of Gift. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.